Good evening, everyone. We want to welcome you to our regular scheduled board meeting tonight. We'll have an invocation by Mr. Sampson. If you would like to join us, please stand.
Please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you this hour asking for your blessing and help as we are gathered here together. We pray for your guidance in the matters at hand and ask that you clearly show us and conduct us with the spirit of joy and enthusiasm. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Who plays the flag, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now the Texas flag. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you.
Item 4 on the agenda. This is on page 10 in the board book. Conduct public hearing to present and discuss the Perkins 5 and IDEA B funds and the district's proposed uses and intent to apply for these funds. Will the presenter come to the podium?
Hello, I'm Karen Steinbach. I'm the CTE coordinator for the district. And I'm here to just go over Perkins, and then Ms. Williams will take the rest of it. Okay? How do I do it? Huh? Oh, clicker. It would help. Where do you, there we go. Okay, so we apply for a CNLA twice a year. CAP just did it in April and it was approved, and the way we focus on it is using the Texas workforce recommendations for the Liberty County as well as Houston, because a number of our students, once they continue or finish with Cleveland, they do find jobs in the Houston area. It has been approved. And what it prioritized was the need to ensure that all industry-based equipment in the high school and middle school were up to date as much as humanly possible, and to continue to keep our curriculum up to date. As you can see on the slide, this year's total will be just a hair shy of $139,000. Oh, me. Okay, and what is it all about? Obviously, it's to build our ability to work within industry. As I'm sure all of you know, it is important to us in CTE that all students graduate with a certification within the pathway that they have chosen. And those certifications are what we call industry-based certifications, meaning when they leave the high school, they are able to take that certification and theoretically start at a rung higher than just your average worker. In some cases, it's already straight into a management position. In other cases, it's into a training program for a management position. The funds obviously will be used also for the supplemental materials. Things change every year. I'm actually from the restaurant industry. Every 3 years, they decide the code needs to change, and we have to update all of our materials for the culinary program because of that. It's the same with all of our other industries, especially in the medical industry, where there are so many changes every year. Okay, and so how are we prioritizing it as far as the different pathways? At this point, we're prioritizing it based on the equipment and the age. So we have completed the update of all of the business pieces of equipment for the computers. Now we're going to work on the AV area and animation. It's a growing industry in the Houston area in particular, so we will do that. And then we're also, again, going to be working on health science and architecture regarding supplementary items for the classroom. Okay, we are also doing some work down in the middle schools regarding college and career education. Our goal is that when they finish the program that we start in 7th grade, they have a better understanding of what career they might like. We all know that a child at that age is going to make choices and probably change their mind Don't know how many of you have college-age children. I have already paid all that money, but have had the opportunity to have the kid come to me at 2 years in and go, I really don't want to do that. So we're trying to get them as much information as possible so they can make a good choice when they decide which pathway they want. And now Ms. Wallace.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so IDAB, that is our special ed federal grant that we receive every year. It stands for Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, and it's mainly designed to just offset the extra cost that is frequently associated with students with disabilities. So it's to supplement our general education expenditures. We're looking at a total a little bit more than CTE this next year, about the same as last year. I want to say it's almost exactly the same as last year, in spite of the fact that we have a lot more kids. So the federal government gives us this grant every year, and we're glad to have it. It covers everything from diagnosticians, our transition specialists. We have to set aside certain dollars for residential placement in case we have to pay for a residential placement, because that can run at about $350,000 or more. But we just set aside a tiny bit, and we actually would get reimbursed. We don't have that right now. Professional development and special education management software, that's some of the things that we use it for. We don't actually use it for like speech therapists and some other Medicaid things that we could get funding back for, because you can only like get money out of one federal program at a time. So, so if you like a little bit more information locally, we are spending a significant amount on students with disabilities and a significantly increasing amount on students with disabilities. So you can see those are our local. When I say local expenditures, I cram that together. They don't do that in the business office. I do local and state together because it's all 199 funds. If you are interested in a little bit of I have a few slides, growth trends in special education services and expenditures. I can hit that now, or you can look at it on your own. What would you like? Now?
Pleasure of the board. Now?
Okay. Can you click that one? Okay. And again, just really quick, I try to be brief. But you can see there is some growth. That's just in evaluations. And that's what we spend a lot of our time doing, an evaluation for a student with a disability for eligibility purposes, requires specialized folks. And it can take from the evaluation time to the gathering of data to the writing of the report, 12 hours of somebody's time to do that, give or take, depending on what type of evaluation it is. So we have initial evaluations, and then we have every 3 years we're required to do a reevaluation, or at least discuss that. So we are hitting those a lot. The number of students receiving special education services, and you can see, has increased. We've almost doubled, right, since 2021, so that 93.8. So that doesn't necessarily account for all the kids that have flowed in and out of our district in a year. We actually have quite a bit more, but that's like what we would end the year at. Speech therapy is a large percentage of our cost, so I thought I'd throw out here the number of speech therapy students, and that's increased by 53%, so when you think about that, that's half again as much, right? Now, a handful of these might be dismissed each year as they graduate from, more than a handful, as they graduate from speech. Actually, speeches are ones that get dismissed the most, but in elementary, that's where you see a whole bunch. Of course, that's when they get referred. We've really got to hit them fast. That really helps their reading. and their vocabulary. It's extremely important. Dyslexia, there's been a little change in the law, a big change in the law, and dyslexia was served used to under 504, which is unfunded, largely, until we got the dyslexia allotment. But now it's under special education. So that also accounts for a large percentage of our increase. Some other things over the last 5 years as well, besides the dyslexia change in the law. Across the state of Texas, you'll find that districts have pretty well doubled or even more their special education population. So we haven't done that, but we are very much up from where we were. And so then you can see that our funding kind of, this would be state and local funds by student. What you looked at earlier was in totality. So we could also break it up into like how much you're spending per student with state and local dollars. And you can see that back there in 17 to 18, then we had some drop, and then we had it come back up. So our expenditures have also increased dramatically in spite of our efforts to reduce those costs. But you can see they're pretty much in line with our increase in population. So that's what I wanted to show you tonight. Thank you. Questions?
I do have one question. When you talk about students, you had a 93.8%. As per student, about how many students are we serving per year in this program?
So we ended the year last year at 1660. So
660.
Yes, 1,160 students. Okay. Now that our snapshot wasn't that. Our snapshot, of course, is taken in October.
Right.
Or the last of October. Okay. But very much. And right now, our numbers are, I wouldn't even want to guess at what our numbers are right now because you know how it is when the kids are enrolling.
Right, they would be scattered. It would be scattered now because it would be so early.
I mean, it's a little bit lower right now until we collect them all.
Right.
Okay, until we get into the registrar's office and figure out who all it is. It's probably 150 less right now, but we'll.
But that's going to be what?
My guess is by snapshot we will be at 16 again.
That's going to be my other question. How are they identified? Through registration, or what process do they?
So yeah, when they enroll in our district and they come with paperwork, right? Or the parent says, hey, my kid was had an IEP, my kid had ARD meetings. Our registrars know to ask these questions. We also have like a kiosk type of a deal where if I have concerns about my child, they fill that out. But mainly special education records. But then for our pre-K babies or kindergarten babies that haven't been in school before, well, we're quickly getting parent and teacher referrals. So a lot of speech referrals we'll start off with, but then occasionally, we'll have the more severe referrals. But we are obligated to do child find. So that means if you suspect a child has a disability, please let us know, and we will be glad to meet with that parent in all seriousness. Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Wallace. Thank you, Ms. Steinbach. Moving on. Item 5, public comments regarding the Perkins 5 and Idea B funds and the district's proposed uses. Any comments from the public? If no comments, we will move on to item 6, public comments and open forum. Mr. President, do we have someone signed up?
Yes, sir. We have one, Mr. Jonathan Copeland. If you'll come to the podium, give your names, your address, and where you reside in the city of Cleveland. Matt, will you clean the time for us, please? Will you? Thank you. Let me see it. Please be advised you have 3 minutes, sir, and let us know when you're ready, and then we'll start the clock. You ready?
Yes.
Yes, sir. You may present.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Jonathan Copeland, and I'm an alumni of Cleveland ISD, and I returned again to Cleveland ISD with some unfortunate news about the safety of our children at Northside Elementary. I spoke about this at the last meeting, and I've handed you guys my cards to email me if you'd like to discuss this further. Again, there's a 42-inch high-velocity natural gas liquids pipeline that has been proposed to come through town. This pipeline is starting in the Permian Basin in West Texas and ending in Louisiana near Lake Charles. This would be the biggest pipeline in the area compared to the existing pipelines, and the product in this pipeline is not intended for local residents or businesses in Cleveland. The demand for this product is for export overseas. There is currently no demand for NGL production in the United States. Instead, there is a demand for export facilities so wealthy CEOs and financial shareholders can acquire more wealth. This desire for more wealth is an inherent risk to the safety of the children at Northside Elementary. According to a formula used by the federal government, prepared by the Gas Research Institute, the high consequence area is close to 1,100 feet for a 42-inch gas pipeline with an operating pressure of 1,440 psi. Northside is well within that assumed radius, sitting close to approximately 900 feet from the route. The pipeline company went on record and said at their open house meeting that the elementary school is less than 1,000 feet from the proposed pipeline route, and I have a video of that conversation if anyone would like to see. These pipelines rupture, leak, and blow out all the time. There was already a disruption to water service in Cleveland because the contractor punctured a main water pipeline. There needs to be conversations about, and with parents about what CISD intends to do to ensure the safety of our children at Northside Elementary. The question here is how are we going to evacuate a school of young children ages 5 through 11 if the pipeline leaks? This gas is very dense. It collects close to the ground like an invisible puddle. It doesn't move upward and dissipate into the air like natural gas does. It is recommended that people do not operate motor vehicles or cell phones and radios in the
30
area
seconds.
of a leak. In this situation, would we be walking the children from Northside to FM 2025, exposing them to the toxic gas just to get them a safe distance away from the pipeline? I ask this because how are we supposed to get school buses and parents onto school property to evacuate children if it's recommended that no vehicles be operated inside the blast radius of the pipeline? There's a lot of conversations that we need to have, and I'm available for questions.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. There will be no questions.
We can take no questions. We can only let you make a presentation.
Okay, well, you all have my cards,
Yes, sir.
and
Yes.
feel free to email me.
We will. Once again, thank you very much, Mr. Superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. President. Item 7 on the agenda is recognitions. On page 21 in your board book, item A, recognition of aviation student for his outstanding achievement. I am asking the CTE coordinator and teacher to come to the podium. They will be doing the speaking and introduction of this amazing announcement.
Thank y'all for having me. My name is Brian Stafford. I am the aviation engineering instructor at Cleveland High School. We have an outstanding student here who was in my aviation program. He's big in the RV-12 project. He's been working on the plane a lot. I first had him in our drone class, where he was one of my top scorers on the drone test. So this young man already has his commercial drone license. He's already making money with it, as you're going to hear in just a second. As his interest in aviation continued, he decided that he wants to be a professional pilot. So I gave him the tools needed to pursue that career. He took the private pilot knowledge exam last year. He was my top scorer on it. He scored like 86 or 87 on the test, which I don't know if y'all know how hard that test is. That is one of the hardest tests a pilot can take. It's the private pilot test. So he scored very well on it. He is a top 25% student at Cleveland High School, so he also does very well in his other studies. But anyway, we want to recognize him tonight. He's the first student that I've had. He's paying for his own pilot lessons, by the way. Anyway, he took his first solo the other day. And so we want to recognize him for his outstanding accomplishment. So Angel, come on up.
All right. Can y'all hear me? Loud and clear. All right. Hello. So my name is Angel Delcid. I am a senior at Cleveland High School and participate in the Cleveland Aviation and Tango Flight program. As you know, we are building a van aircraft, an RV-12 from scratch. Isn't that interesting? I am very excited to express my passion towards this aviation curriculum that we have in Cleveland High School, partnered with Tango Flight program created by Mr. Stafford and Ms. Steinbach. I personally want to thank the board and the superintendent for the support of the program being created. And I want to hit on three things. Once you leave here today, I want you to understand my excitement towards this aviation program. I also want you to learn how to embrace change and learn that we're all pioneers, right? But first of all, who am I? As I said, my name is Angel Delcid. I was born in Houston, and my parents immigrated from Honduras from a very early age. Some of my earliest memories I recall were working with my dad. I would work with him. He was a foreman for a tree company. And he would work so efficiently. He made the job look easy. And it left me a long-lasting impression that if you work hard enough and you believe what's right, you can get it done. But my dad, he much more rather me stay in school and have a better career than him. He emphasized that he wanted me to go to school and become successful. Well, once in high school, I faced a traumatic injury. I tore my ACL playing football, and it took a great toll on me. I really felt hopeless, and it was just a setback. But it was a turning point in my life. I learned to embrace it, and I found strength in this Bible verse. It goes like this: is Joshua 1:9. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Walking down the hallway on a high school day, just regular old high school day, I saw some of my friends talking by Mr. Stafford's room. And curiously enough, I'm always curious. I was like, what is this class? And I talked to Mr. Stafford, and he introduced this idea of, oh, do you want to get your commercial drone pilot's license? And I was like, well, doesn't that sound great, right? I've been, and I got hooked. I got hooked on the idea. And eventually, I took the exam, I joined his class, and 3 months later, I passed my drone exam. Surprisingly enough, I also got a job offer that with a starting pay of $40 an hour. It's a chemical spraying company called Sprayco. You can search them up. In this job, it required me to operate an agricultural drone. If you haven't seen those agricultural drones, they're huge. And all I had to do was map out a map, and then just set the drone. All I had to do was watch it. Well, after this, I saw another great opportunity. As you may know, is the private pilots. and I decided to take on it again. And it was another challenge, and 5 months of studying. But nevertheless, I surpassed my expectations and passed the exam with a high score, with one of the highest scores. Y'all can clap, y'all can clap, y'all can clap, y'all can clap. Going on, we had schools like Chenot and Chenot Aviation Academy, where I'm enrolled right now, and we had other schools like United's Aviate program and Delta's Delta's Propel program, which are 141 schools, compared to Chanot, that's a Part 61 school. The only difference between them is that 141, you go through their course. You go through their course with their time. Part 61, you go at your own rate. You learn at your own rate. And despite these great things that I had done and my determination, I faced financial obstacles. I couldn't afford to go to school at the time. Well, the first thing that I did, I opened a GoFundMe campaign. Campaign and didn't expect much. I also sold film pictures and took drone pictures at a park at Discovery Green. With the help of many generous people, I raised enough funds to buy basic supplies like a headset, books, like foreign books, and at least have like something to start. And upon this, I also work at Walmart as a cashier to fully fund myself and have a stable income. I would like to add these few school statistics. Well, now that our program is linked with Tango Flight, Tango Flight is now a dual credit program through the Texarkana College that will provide 15 credit hours. This means, let me put it simple, this means for one high school class, it would be compared to taking 5 college courses in college. And once I finish flight school, I will receive an additional 36 hours for finishing my flight school. This means and this also includes many extensive opportunities that we have in dual credit like English, math, like algebra, biology, any of those. Those all add up. With this being add up, once I graduate, I should have around 90 college credit hours that will go towards my bachelor that I can transfer into the Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in pursuit of an aeronautical science degree. Therefore, I would only have to take 30 hours of college credit to complete my bachelor's degree in aeronautical science. Isn't that great? Well, by this point, I should be a commercial pilot and have variety of job offers and a starting salary of $150,000. However, with the help of our aviation curriculum through the Tango Flight program, a degree is not really necessary to become a commercial pilot in today's aviation world. The degree is the icing in my cake. So to say, in the future, we hope to have a partnership with Lone Star College, offering additional dual credit classes for unmanned aerial vehicles, as you may know, UAV, or drones, and their professional pilot program as well. And with the help of Cleveland High School Aviation and Tango Flight programs, and the help of the EAA, the Experimental Aircraft Association, that is dedicated in growing the number of participants in aviation. They're creating a flight club here in our own hometown, in Cleveland Municipal Airport. As you may or may not know, flight school can be very expensive. It can run you up for almost $77,000. And the EAA is opening up an opportunity called the Young Eagle Flights. And they will be hosting an event on October the 5th, if y'all want to show up. This club will allow our aviation program to receive a free discovery flight. And with this discovery flight comes a free curriculum so you can get your private pilot knowledge exam passed. This will cut the school's cost by $75 per student. And once their private pilot knowledge exam is passed, the EAA will reimburse for their cost of the knowledge exam, making it free for the school and students, again, cutting school's cost by $175 per student. Well, my pioneer journey has just begun as I'm paving the way for the future of Cleveland High School Aviation and Tango Flight program. We hope to continue and see a growth in the Cleveland Aviation and Tango Flight program. As I'm setting the precedent for the younger students and motivate them to seek their love for aviation and remove that boundary that's been holding them back their whole entire lives. We're all here for many great reasons, right? That have resonated throughout the community. Well, 3 months later, I stand in front of y'all, driven because an unwavering belief that with hard work and dedication, anything is possible, right? I'm grateful for the mentors like Mr. Stafford, Ms. Steinbach, and many great teachers who have supported me and inspired me throughout this journey. We're all taking great steps to grow the Cleveland Aviation and Tango Flight program. And I'm going to leave you with this. Get it out. Well, this is my shirt tail, right? Get a good view at it. In aviation, you get this whenever you solo. This tradition signifies that you're independent and you're welcome into the pilot community. Well, what do we do with the shirt tail, right? Well, we just hang it on the wall and make it look pretty, right? We just hang it on the wall and look pretty. No, it matters more. It matters more than that. And luckily enough, this shirt has a very interesting message, which is very tiny, but you got to come up and look at it closer, right? but I put a big mark here, and it says read here, right? It says, do what you like what you do. And the origin of the shirt tail came from the early days where pilots used to sit in tandem. Tandem means that one sat in the front, one sat in the back. And they would, the instructors would tug on their shirts, like telling them, oh, go right, go left, stop, or, and that was one of the ways that they got their attention. And yeah, this is a very, very great way very great message that has really resonated with me. And I'm really grateful for this opportunity and hope y'all understand my passion. And my name is Angel Delcid, and I'm a pioneer as well, just like all of y'all. Thank you.
I just love your enthusiasm. You had everyone in here undivided attention, and I want to personally wish you nothing but the very best, because you are a pioneer, and that just goes to show you that Cleveland does have a lot of good things to offer to our students. So thank you for what you're doing, and speaking for this board, if there's anything that this board can do to help the aviation program, please don't hesitate to talk to us. Again, thank you. Good luck to you.
Thank you, Angel. Congratulations. I look forward to our own airplane being ready. When is that date? What are we looking at? Nice.
Take the microphone, please, so everybody can hear you.
Ms. Steinbach.
Please.
So the program is designed to only be 2 years, and we really could have finished this past year, but they ran out. I mean, they have to supply various schools. We're one of the schools in the area, so is Porter. Porter takes 2 years plus sometimes. Had we been allowed to stay on our schedule, we would have finished in 1 year. The only other schools that are capable of doing that are tech schools that are aviation tech schools.
Wow.
So Tango Flight is very impressed with Mr. Stafford and the mentors he's brought in. I'm very blessed because they know what they're doing and I don't have to worry. You know? But we did promise all the school board a free ride when it finally happens.
I don't know about that.
So I have already said I will go up first. Figure I'm older than all of you. If I go down, it really doesn't matter. But the reality
Well,
is
if Del Cid is the pilot, we're fine.
that is exactly
Yes.
true. There is true. And what he didn't mention is that we have 15 other kids
That's what I'm
over
gonna ask
there also
Yeah.
learning how to fly. So this isn't just one kid. This is a number of our students that are really taking the opportunity to have something so when they do graduate, as he has already pointed out, he's going to make more money than all of us. And, you know, we're very excited for him. So anyway, we had to let you see him. He's wonderful.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Moving on, item 8, it's on page 22 in the board book, construction update. Scotty Lewis could not join us tonight from LAN. We have our Director of Facilities, Brian Brooks, doing the presentation. Mr. Brooks?
Currently, we have one major project going on, and that's our South Service Center. The fence is completely up, the gates are up. They do not have power yet due to energy is not cooperating right now. We did not get a building permit early on in this situation. That delayed us getting a electrical permit. So that should be up by this Friday, hopefully, all fingers crossed. They have finished up with the painting this weekend. They had to go back and touch up some stuff in the parking lot. So there are fire lanes painted, parking lots painting, all that good stuff. They have also started putting up the access points that download all the videos and things like that to the buses. They're automatic upload. So they are getting them hung up later this week. They should be up by next Monday. And other than that, the building is just about ready. We finally got the air conditioner quit leaking, so they're good now. If we have any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Brooks. Moving on, item 9, report, superintendent's report, our enrollment information. Our enrollment as of August the 19th, so they gave me up-to-the-minute information. We ended today with 12,150 students. For attendance, we are sitting at 94.6% attendance. Item 2 on page 34, the 2024-25 open house schedule is in the board book. Item B, financial reports, and item C, campus and department reports. You can find those on page 35 and 71 respectively. And board, if you have any questions, we do have principals and department leads here to answer those questions.
No questions?
All right, moving on. Item 10, consent agenda items. Board, I will read all 3 of these, and then you can take action. Item A, approve bills and payroll. That's on page 102. Item B, approve the minutes of the regular meeting of July 16th, 2024, workshop and special meeting of July 25th, and special meeting of July the 30th. That's on page 168. And item C, approve the teacher appraisal calendar and possible CISD certified T-test appraisers list for the 24-25 school year on page 180.
Entertain a motion to accept consent agenda.
Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Second by Ms. Pena. Are there any questions? There be no questions. Motion passes 6-0. Next item.
Item 11, considered agenda items. Board, I'll read these individually. Item A on page 185, consider approval of proposed adult meal prices for the 24-25 school year. Ms. Lacey Willie is here. If you have any questions, she will come to the podium. Yes, we did for tonight.
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
Please explain the price increase, the reasoning for it.
Sure. Because Cleveland ISD is on the National School Lunch and School Breakfast Program, we do utilize USDA food dollars commodities. And because of that, USDA has a requirement that any adult meals have to be priced as of not getting reimbursements and to cover the cost of the USDA foods. Any other questions?
The increase?
$5 from last year. It's $5 because our method 2 requirement minimum is $4.99, and last year it was $4.75, so we had to go up a quarter.
Okay.
And then we had to go up 20 cents for breakfast because we utilize USDA foods also in our breakfast program.
So this is a forced increase?
It is a
To
forced-
comply?
It is a forced increase. It is, very much so. If the board did not want to have that pricing for the child nutrition funds, the 240, you could supplement and not charge parents or staff or any guests that amount, but it would come out of the general fund.
No. No, we, I mean,
So there is that option.
no, we good.
Okay.
What is your participation number as far as? Yes, ma'am.
Currently for school lunch, we have 73% of our enrollment is eating lunch, and 36%, I think is what I sent you today, is eating a breakfast.
That's not bad.
Not bad. Nope, it'll pick up, and it'll go down, and that's pretty much, we'll probably get a little bit higher on breakfast. 40% is our average here in Cleveland, so I anticipate more as the year goes on and students are in their routine that we'll pick them up.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. You can vote.
Yeah. Entertain a motion to approve, accept.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Sampson,
Second.
second. Ms. Porter, excuse me. Any questions? There be no questions, all in favor? Motion passes 6-0. Next item.
Item B on page 186, discussion of property values and possible approval of the certification of the 2024 Liberty County, San Jacinto County, and Montgomery County appraisal rolls.
Everyone had an opportunity to review that?
Ms. Billingsley, she can answer if you have any questions.
Share these great numbers with us.
Yes, I gave you 3 pages because it's too small for one. So if you want to turn to the last page, the handout I gave you. And also the detailed reports from each one of the appraisal districts in your book, starting on page 186. But this is just a summary of what's happened all the way back from 2018, but I just wanted to go over the last page. If you notice, the appraised value for Liberty County is $4,177,000,000. The amount for San Jacinto County is $220 million. And the amount for Montgomery County is $42 million. So that is 11.65% increase for Liberty County, a 21.49% increase for San Jacinto County, and a 2.67% increase for Montgomery County. So those are your increases for this year.
For the general public, would you explain to them how that affects our tax rate or our property values?
Well, our tax rate is not going up. We don't control the amount that the appraised values come in. So it's going to depend on each homeowners, but our tax rate that we will present later in the month for approval is actually going to go down just a tiny bit this year. So.
Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Billis. Entertain a motion to approve.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Sampson,
Second.
second by Ms. Pena. Are there any questions? There be no questions, all in favor? Motion passes 6-0. Next item.
Item C on page 222, consider appointment of delegate and alternate to the 2024 TASB Delegate Assembly.
Any suggestions on this one?
So while you contemplate, your delegate must be a trustee on your board.
Yes.
You also may select a second trustee to serve as an alternate.
Any volunteers, Ms. Pena? Well, it'll be a great experience for you. Won't you try it? We've all done it.
So you make a motion?
I make a motion for Ms. Pena.
I second.
We have Ms. Pena has been nominated.
And then we need an alternate.
Okay, we will, all in favor, Ms. Pena?
It has it voting as one.
That's one, okay.
So we just need to
All right, and again, this is very interesting for you. So I'd like to nominate Mr. Sampson as the alternate.
He won't be in town.
He won't be in town.
And neither will Ms. Porter. So it's down to, I imagine her baby's gonna take her out of
Yeah.
contention.
Well, in his absence, we'll nominate Coach Service.
Service, okay.
You'll be here next time, I bet.
He'll be at the next meeting.
So now we can.
Okay, all in favor of those two names? Motion. I did. Motion passes 6-0. Next item, please.
Item D, approve district requisitions for purchases above 50,000 as per CH local policy. I will read each one on page 227. Item 1, consider approval of project requisition for a digital library of online books with Renaissance Learning. Funding source is general fund, compensatory education allotment.
Entertain a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Ms. Porter. Second by Ms. Brooks. Any questions? All in favor? 6-0. Item 2.
Item 2, page 251, consider approval of project requisition for school marquee boards with LED partners. Funding sources, general fund.
Entertain a motion. Motion by Mr. Sampson. Second by Ms. Porter. Any questions?
Is this gonna fix the high schools? Okay, that's all I needed to know.
High school and CMS.
Any other questions? All in favor? Motion passes 6-0. Item 3.
Item 3, consider approval of project requisition for empowering writers for supplemental reading and writing resources for grades K through 8. Funding source is Fund 211, Title 1, Part A.
Number 3, entertain a motion, please.
Motion.
Motion by Ms. Porter. Second by Mr. Sampson. Any questions? There be no questions. All in favor? Motion passes 6-0. Item 4.
Item 4, consider approval of project requisition for data management system with project education. Funding sources, general fund, compensatory education allotment, gifted and talented allotment, and Fund 263, Title 3, Part A, ELA.
Motion, please. Motion, Ms. Porter.
Second.
Second by Ms. Wendy. Any questions? There be no questions. All in favor? Motion passes 6-0. Item 5.
Consider approval of project requisition to MGT of America Consulting, LLC, for consulting services for improvement of instructional delivery. Funding source is Fund 211, Title 1, Part A.
Entertain a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Ms. Porter. Second by Mr. Sampson. Questions? I do have a question. Can I get an explanation on number 5 from someone, please?
Dr. Alex?
Thank you.
So this allotment, Mr. President, Board, this allotment is for Get Better Faster, which has been determined as our coaching framework. So when we think about the instructional leadership capacity that we're building for principals, our instructional coaches and assistant principals, it's our way of improving teacher efficacy at more of a rapid rate by being very strategic and getting those very bite-sized pieces to improve outcomes faster. So with the resources of Get Better Faster, we also have a contract where they are not only providing the overall training, they also provide weekly services and input on how we're tracking what we're doing so that it holds everyone accountable for not just spending the money, but making the impact in the classroom immediately. We've already started and we're already tracking.
The 8 campuses, what campuses is this going to be benefiting?
All of them,
I thought we had more than 8 campuses.
except not the high school, I'm sorry. Yes, they have a different one.
Okay, so they're going with something differently?
Only because they were already on a continuing contract, but we are in the K through 8, and when that contract expires, we will go all the way with it, but they did participate in some, yes.
Okay, because I was like, well, I think we had more campuses.
yet.
Okay, thank
They-
you.
Yes, yes.
Anyone else? Thank you, ma'am. All in favor? Motion passes 6-0. Item 6.
Item 6, consider approval of project requisition to News ELA Incorporated for cross-curricular reading resources. The proposed funding source is Fund 211, Title I, Part A. Board, I am asking that this item be tabled tonight. It will be discussed within the department and possibly brought up at a later board meeting.
Entertain a motion to table item 6.
You want to, and then I'll second? Okay, so,
Mr. Sampson and Ms. Wendy, second. All in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Item 7.
Item 7, consider approval of project requisition Instructure Incorporated for learning management systems. Funding source is Fund 410, instructional materials allotment.
Entertain a motion for item 7.
Motion.
Motion by Ms. Porter.
Pena.
Ms. Pena? Y'all got me that time.
Second.
Second by Ms. Porter. Are there any questions? There be no questions. All in favor? Motion passes 6-0. Item 8.
Item 8, consider approval of project requisition for services contract with Stepping Stones Group for speech language pathology services. Funding source is general fund, special education allotment.
Entertain a motion.
Motion. Pena.
Motion by Ms. Pena. Second by Mr. Sampson. Are there any questions? There be no questions. All in favor? 6-0. Item 9.
Item 9, consider approval of project requisition for a service contract with National Recruiting Consultants for a virtual speech language pathologist SLP. Funding source, general fund, special education allotment.
Entertain a motion.
Motion. Pena.
Motion by Ms. Pena. Second by Ms. Brooks. Are there any questions? There be no questions. All in favor? Oh, sorry,
I
question.
have a question, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
So on the previous one, I just want to understand the difference between the two because you have schools listed on both contracts, so I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah, and I've got the next couple too, so I'll just stand up here. The majority of what we're coming to you tonight with is different companies that we are getting contract providers for speech language pathologists. All of them are virtual providers because we are not able to find them here. Let's see, on the stepping stones, it's speech and then a part-time OT. And then the next one is just speech. What's the next company? I don't have it in front of me.
It's, one says that it's a speech language pathologist, and then the first one said it was speech language pathologist, and you have Pinebird and Eastside listed under each contractor. So I just wasn't
Right.
sure if they were
So
having
what
to
we
be
have to
serviced by
do-
two?
Yeah, so what we have to do is kind of, spread them out by campus. The business office wants us to make sure that we kind of allocate and ahead of time where we think we're going to have those virtual providers.
So like, for example, both of those companies will be at Pinebird and Eastside,
Virtually.
virtually.
Virtually, okay. Good question.
And if it changes, what we would do is tell the business office, okay, well, we actually are going to shift over here because maybe we got somebody face-to-face at that campus.
And that helps us, Ms. Billingsley, keep up with the funds, right? Gotcha. Anyone else? All in favor, for item 9? 6-0. Item 10.
Item 10, consider approval of project requisition for services contract with Stepping Stones Group for occupational therapy assistant, OTA. Funding source, general fund, special education allotment.
Entertain a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Ms. Pena, second by Ms. Porter. Question, explanation, please?
Yes, we have increased in our numbers and needed, I think that's 2 days a week.
2 days, okay?
And this will be physically there?
Yes,
Okay.
Okay.
it's an occupational therapist assistant.
Yeah, I was gonna be really intrigued to see how you were doing that virtually.
You know, they say it can be done, but I don't want to try that.
No.
Any other questions? All in favor? Motion passes 6-0. Number 11.
Consider approval of project requisition for an interlocal agreement with Harris County Department of Education for specialized services. Funding source is general fund, special education allotment.
Entertain a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Ms.
Porter.
Porter. Second by Mr. Sampson. Now, as I read that in the handout, can you help me with that
So-
one?
So that one is,
I think only 3 students? Oh,
that one's specialized assessments,
Okay.
right? Is that? Oh,
It's
sorry,
the-
we're in Harris County.
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, so Harris County Department of Ed, yes. We actually have 2 students right now. We have 3 spots. You pay for each spot, but we weren't able to use the spot last year, so they gave it to us free this year, but we already paid for it last year.
Okay.
And weren't able to use it because of things on their end. So it's not really free, but we just already paid for it. And so what that is we have 2 very challenging kiddos with severe aggression, okay? That were harming our staff. And we did not have the physical ability or the structure and environment to be able to provide for their needs. So this is a day placement in Houston, and transportation takes them every day down there and brings them back in the afternoon.
So you said that there was an issue on their side last year, so even though we had the slots, we were not able to place a student. So how did that student or those students fare throughout the year?
We actually had the idea is always to bring our students back here. So we had actually brought that one student, one of our 3 back to work with them and see if we could get them through. That student ultimately withdrew. But when we wanted to place another child, TEA was working with their school on a couple of things, and they said, hey, no more placements right now, no more new placements. So we weren't able to place anybody.
Right. So
Now, just keep in mind that we have these slots.
Right.
Sorry.
how involved are the parents with these students?
Are the parents?
How involved are they?
How involved? The students are very involved.
The parents?
The parents are fantastic. Very involved with the kiddos as well.
Good.
These are kids that have struggled for years.
Yeah,
And the parents are doing everything they can.
they can.
Mhm.
Great.
So basically, we have one more spot right now if we need it.
So, as large as this district is, can you tell me why we only get 3 spots, or are there more spots available if we want to pay for them?
So this is, first of all, this is down by the ship channel.
I understand.
So first and foremost, and it is costing us a significant amount of money. They only have so many slots there aren't day placements around. I mean,
Okay.
there's hardly anything around. So we fight for spots with Conroe ISD, and they have 70,000 students. I mean, everybody in, maybe not HISD, they probably have their own. But everybody tries to get in. There's a Harris County Department of Ed, ABS East and West, and there's just so much room.
Right.
So we're pretty lucky to have those spots. We can actually, if we decide we don't want them, we could sell our spot to another district later on. But I think we want to keep it in our pocket.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for the explanation. All in favor? 6-0. Thank you again. Item 12.
Item 12, consider approval of project requisition for services contract with Child First Speech LLC for speech language pathology services. Funding source, general fund, special education allotment.
Entertain a motion. Motion by Ms. Porter. Ms. Pena. Any questions? All in favor? 6-0. Item 14, thank you again.
Item 13, consider approval of project requisition to Specialized Assessment and Consulting, LLC, for speech assessment and psychological assessment services, general fund, special education allotment.
Entertain a motion for item 14. Motion by Ms. Pena.
It's 13.
Sec- Huh?
It's 13.
It's 13, I'm sorry, item 13.
We got you.
Second by Ms. Brooks. Any questions? All in favor? Motion passes 6-0. Item 14.
Consider approval of project requisition for services contract with Jennifer Moore for physical therapy services for students. Proposed funding source is general fund special education allotment.
Entertain a motion. Motion by Ms. Pena. Second by Mr. Sampson. Explanation, please.
Yes,
14.
Yes, sir. We have a physical therapist who works with us 2 days a week, sometimes a little bit more. She has a PT assistant as well. The PT assistant is actually employed by us. Jennifer Moore is her supervisor, and she's contracted with us. She comes face to face. She's phenomenal.
How many students involved? It varies.
It varies, but I would guess probably well over 100.
Any other questions? All in favor? Motion passes 6-0. Item 15.
Consider approval of project requisition for services contract with First Choice Educational Solutions for special education testing for students. Funding sources, general fund, special education allotment.
Entertain a motion, please. Motion by Ms. Pena. Second by Ms. Porter. Are there any questions? There be no questions. All in favor? 6-0. Motion passes. Item 16.
Consider approval of project requisition to the Learning Internet Incorporated, learning.com, for instructional materials adopted by the State Board of Education. Funding source is Fund 410, instructional materials allotment.
Entertain a motion. Ms. Pena. Mr. Sampson, are there any questions? There be no questions. All in favor? Motion passes 6-0. Next item on the agenda is executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code Subchapter D, Section 551.071, 551.072, and 551.074, and 551.076. At this time, we'll convene for executive session at 7:03 p.m.